What's going on, everybody? C4 here, and welcome to today's video, which is going to be my Philadelphia Eagles mock draft 2.0. Now, you might be saying to yourself, didn't you do a 2.0 mock draft a couple weeks ago? I did, but I put a 10-second highlight of Hollywood Brown in it, and the video got taken down. So in that downtime, I've kind of rethought and revisited my mock draft. I've fine-tuned it, smoothed out the edges, so it's what you're going to see here today. But a quick reference point to my first Eagles mock draft that we did at like week 13 of the regular season. I'm going to pop it up right here, just quickly go over it. A lot of things have changed, you know, obviously what I think Philly should do and address certain positions has changed, and a lot of different draft picks. We don't have the same picks that I did in that first mock. But first round, we had DeAndre Baker from Georgia, the corner. Second round, Jerry Tillery, D-tackle from Notre Dame. Second round, Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, defensive back. Then we had Preston Williams, Max Sharping, Darrell Henderson, Teron Prescott, Derek Beatty, Carl Granderson, and Joe Dineen. But, you know, Carl Granderson's a rapist now. We don't have 3 6-round picks because we kind of got robbed from the comp picks. We don't have a 7th rounder. That's now the Chicago Bears. And I don't think we should use 2 of our first 3 picks on the secondary anymore. I think our secondary is going to be a very interesting battle this offseason. And, you know, don't need a corner, don't need a safety in the first day or 2 of the draft. So that being said, let's jump into my brand new mock draft at pick 25 and shock the world. And at pick 25, the Eagles are going DK Metcalf, wide receiver from Ole Miss, 6'4", 225-pound, Josh Gordon 2.0 without the substance abuse issues. So I'm going to bring that up. So you might be saying, whoa, C4, don't you think DK Metcalf's like a top 5 talent? I sure do. But why do you think he'll be there at pick 25? Well, just look at history. Look at the last 3 years. Last 3 years, where wide receivers have gone. 3 years ago, first wide receiver was Corey Coleman. It was a bust. So maybe teams are worried about spending a high pick on a first rounder. 2 years ago, though, we saw some 3 wide receivers go fairly high. We had Corey Davis, we had Mike Williams, and John Ross. All 3 of those wide receivers had the proven production that DK Metcalf doesn't have. But one of them, very, very similar to DK Metcalf. John Ross, freak of nature and durability concerns. You could see his time at Cincinnati, he's been a bust. Has not been worth that pick. So now we saw last year, the first wide receiver didn't go off the board until pick 24. So I'm not saying DK Metcalf is absolutely 100% going to be here at pick 25. But if you look at just history, there's a good shot that he will be. So why does Philly go wide receiver C4? If the strength of the draft is defensive line, and Philly, by all accounts, with, you know, the future of Timmy Jernigan and Brandon Graham, and is Derek Barnett going to be 100% healthy to start the year? Philly should go D-line, right? Well, I kind of look at the inverse. The strength of the draft is D-line. But I think because top to bottom, it's the strength of the draft, there's going to be great value in the second round. There's going to be defensive linemen that slip into the second round that would be first rounders last year or first rounders in 2020. There's going to be guys in day 3 of the draft this year at defensive line that would be day 2 picks last year or in 2 years' time. So I think that because of the value there, that's where Philly should be doing their picking. And a guy like DK Metcalf, here's why you pick him at pick 25. So what we want for the Philadelphia Eagles offense, I would think even bigger thing than getting speed, because you can get speed anywhere, to be completely honest with you. It might not be good speed, but you can get speed for the offense, is we want Philly to use Dallas Goedert more. We saw it down the stretch with Nick Foles, a lot more Dallas Goedert, a lot more Zach Ertz, 2 tight ends, which is 12-man personnel, which means you only have 2 wide receivers. So we're going to assume, when you look at the Philadelphia Eagles offense, 100% healthy, we're going to be running a lot more 2 tight ends. 1 wide receiver is going to be Alshon Jeffrey. Sure, on his day, fringe top 10, if not top 10 wide receiver. But who's going to be that other wide receiver? Is it going to be, you know, it's not going to be Nelson Aguilar. Philadelphia has shown time and time again they do not trust him as an outside wide receiver, let alone he has a $9 million cap hit, and he's kind of pigeonholed as a slot wide receiver. So he's not going to be back, or he's not going to be that second wide receiver in 12-man. Are you going to gamble that Mac Hollins or Shelton Gibbs can be that guy? Probably not. Are you going to gamble we're going to have a nostalgia trip of overpaying Deshaun Jackson to come back home? Probably not. So a guy like DK Metcalf, understand that we want to run a lot more 12-man personnel, and that it's not even like understanding that we're going to. It is going to happen. It's a foregone conclusion. That second wide receiver now becomes a big time priority for the Philadelphia Eagles. And a freak of nature like DK Metcalf, yeah, some teams will pass on lack of experience. How good's his route running tree? We don't know. His medical, he's been banged up. Pick 25 is an appropriate pick to gamble on a player like this. No, not a top 10 pick like Cincinnati did on John Ross. But at pick 25, you can afford to take a swing on a guy that I think has elite all-pro talent. I'm sick and tired of Philadelphia Eagles not having outside a quarterback with Carson Wentz, and obviously there's a lot of debate. Is he not an elite MVP type player. But I was getting tired of looking at all these other good young teams. You look at the Saints have Alvin Kamara and Michael Thomas. The Rams have Todd Gurley and Brandon Cooks. You got to look at the Giants have Saquon and Odell. Like, all these teams that Philly go up against have these superstars, and Philly just doesn't have it. It's time for Philly to take that opportunity to get that superstar, to get that complement to this offense that we have been missing, and for the new 12-man to get that elite secondary perimeter wide receiver that a lot of scouts think, on top of being 6'4" and 225 pounds. You have seen the workout pictures. He will run 4.45 in that range, between 4.45 and 4.4. So that is faster than any wide receiver we have on the roster. Averaged 21.9 yards per catch last year at Ole Miss. He's Josh Gordon 2.0. He is a gigantic, powerful man that's bigger, faster, stronger than pretty much every defensive back that's got to go in front of him. And I am all aboard the hype train to bring him to the Philadelphia Eagles. So alternative options, I'm going to give alternative options for most of these picks at wide receiver. We could look at N'Keal Harry, but he would cost a first round. Into the second round, Hollywood Brown and Deebo Samuel would bring that speed. Looking more so into day 3, you got McCole Hardman, Preston Williams, Darius Slayton, Emmanuel Hall, or Stanley Morgan Jr. at wide receiver. So moving to the second round at pick 53, I have them selecting Michael Deiter, offensive lineman from Wisconsin, 6'6", 320 pounds. How I envision him on the Eagles is I think he could challenge for left guard 1. If not, he will just be the Swiss Army knife that Isaac Seumalo has failed to become for the Philadelphia Eagles. But he's just so much more upside. Michael Deiter, a 2-time first-team All-Big Ten, 2018 first-team All-American. He has played everywhere on the offensive line, so he brings really, really great versatility, which is kind of part A of a profile of the offensive lineman that Doug Pearson has drafted in his time. And part B of that profile is a big mauler. We have Kelsey, we have Lane Johnson, the Chip Kelly mold for offensive linemen, even though it's worked, has been athletes, undersized athletes. Since Doug Pearson has been here, he gets the big maulers. Big V, Matt Pryor, Jordan Mailata, Isaac Seumalo. All these guys are gigantic for their position, and that is what Michael Deiter is at 6'6", 320 pounds. So he fits the mold of the mauler. He's played center, he's played tackle, he's played guard, and he's a tremendous athlete. Scouts rant and rave about Michael Deiter's athleticism. I think that because of that, it looks like Jason Peters is coming back for 1 year. That's why I didn't have maybe say a Yodny Kid just here in the second round. But Deiter, pencil him in at guard, and he has an upside because of the athletic ability. Maybe he can learn a thing or two and be our tackle in 2 years' time. So I think that there's just way too much upside, way too much versatility for him not to be on the Eagles' radar here in the second round. Second round pick at pick 53, I'm selecting Joe Jackson, defensive end from Miami, 6'5", 260 pounds. I think he'll be defensive end 4. It looks like Brandon Graham's out of town, so we can assume if everyone's healthy, we'll have Michael Bennett on one side and Derek Bennett on the other, and then you're going to have Josh Sweat as a depth guy, but who's going to be that fourth man? I think it could be Joe Jackson. Career, 129 tackles, 35.5 TFLs, 22.5 sacks, 5 forced fumbles, 3 strong productive years for Miami, which fits the profile of a high pick for the Philadelphia Eagles on the edge. Derek Barnett, proven production, exactly what they needed. Brandon Graham, proven production, exactly what they wanted. And we look at Joe Jackson, I mean, he has a lot of upside, and he's a complete defensive end, kind of like Brandon Graham. He does a lot of the ugly things right. He can set the edge and affect the run. He's never going to really be, like, at least as far as I can tell, and I'm really high on him, I don't think he's going to be a guy that's going to be a 15-plus sack guy, but he's going to be a guy that can affect the run, set his edge, get between like 7.5 to 12 sacks. Like, that's his ceiling. That's fine in the second round. That's why he's a second round pick and not a bona fide first round pick. But that is exactly the kind of rotational guy that needs to come in for the Philadelphia Eagles in the second round. It's very, very, very good value and would be a home run. I think if last year or if he went in 2020, if he could very well be a first round pick. So that is showing the value of this year's draft class. The only really alternative I have at defensive end is Montez Sweat, but he would cost a first round pick. So it is what it is. And I didn't really give alternative options to Michael Deiter. The first, second round pick, I think you could look at Elton Jenkins. That's pretty much it. That brings that versatility that I really want in the second round. So we have Michael Deiter, Joe Jackson the second. So moving on to the fourth round at pick 127, I'm going Darnell Savage Jr., the defensive back, more so as safety, from Maryland. 5'11", 190 pounds. I think he'd be safety 3 on our roster, at least come in and compete. He brings tremendous versatility. He can play free safety, strong safety. He can play corner. He's very good at tackling, very aggressive, great athlete. Would be a perfect fit, perfect mentality for the Eagles secondary. Has a lot of proven production, 182 career tackles, 9 TFLs, 8 interceptions, 13 pass breakups, 2 touchdowns, and I think he's an undervalued position again, kind of like wide receiver. I mean, look at last year, for example. Rodney Harrison and Justin Reed were 2 safeties most people had mocked in the first round. They went late third. Kazir White went like the 4th. People had him as a 2nd round pick. Safeties are slipping, and now it's time for Philly to be forward thinking. I mean, we have Roddy McLeod on a cheap deal next year. We have Malcolm Jenkins back, but 2 years' time, who's going to be our safeties? Start thinking about that now, because we can't gamble that they're going to finally listen to me and move Jalen Mills back there, move Rasul Douglas back there. What are they going to do with Avonte Maddox? So get tremendous value here in Darnell Savage in the 4th round. Just laughing. I mean, this could even be a little bit of a dream pick if he tests very, very well at the Combine. It's Combine week, everybody. Can't wait. But right now in the 4th round, Darnell Savage, I'm eating that up all day long. Alternative options for the Eagles at safety. You have Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, who go in the 2nd round, or maybe Amani Hooker from Iowa, but he's going anywhere between the 2nd and the 4th. Move to the 2nd, 4th round pick 138. Iowa's going Elijah Holyfield, running back from Georgia, 5'10", 215 pounds. I vision him as a member of the running back by committee. In his career, only 1,400 yards from scrimmage and 9 touchdowns, which is one of the reasons why I think he'll be here in the 4th round. Another reason is I just don't think he's a 2019 NFL prototypical running back. He only has 7 career catches. I think teams that are going to want to use 1st, 2nd, 3rd round, I don't think there's any 1st round talent at running back this year, but 2nd and 3rd round picks on running backs, they're going to want them to hopefully catch 40 to 50 balls minimum. I don't think you're really going to get that in Elijah Holyfield. So I think because he's an undervalued style of running back, in the 4th round is perfect for Philadelphia in the running back by committee. We have running backs that can catch in Darren Sproles for one more year. Long-term, Corey Clement. But we need that guy that's going to be the bell cow of the committee. I think Elijah Holyfield brings that. He has tremendous upside. He has goddamn genetics for days. His dad's Evander Holyfield. So when you have upside, give me the guy that's the genetic freak all day long. He is very, very low mileage. Some people might hold his lack of production at Georgia against him. I view that as low mileage. You can run him into the ground with the Philadelphia Eagles. So every day, give me Elijah Holyfield from Georgia to potentially be our new running back 1, but realistically to at least take over for Jai and definitely an upgrade over Wendell Smallwood or Josh Adams. Alternative options for the Eagles here at running back. They could look at Josh Jacobs in the 1st or 2nd round. Mid-round picks, Rodney Anderson, Miles Sanders, or late round, I like Travis Homer from Miami. Going to the 5th round pick, 163, I'm selecting Terrill Hanks, outside linebacker from New Mexico State, 6'2", 235 pounds, and I view him as the top depth outside linebacker. I think he can play Sam a little bit, but he is more refined to be a Will. He could challenge Camus for a linebacker spot, but ultimately I think he'll just be a good depth guy, good versatile piece behind Nigel Bradham. He's a converted defensive back, so he brings lots and lots of coverage ability, natural hips. He has a huge wingspan, which, I mean, he kind of is built up a little bit like Darius Leonard. Everyone knows my adopted son. So, sign me up all day long. Proven production, too, as a converted DB. You might be a little bit worried, but he has 391 career tackles, 43.5 TFLs, 11 sacks, 8 picks, 14 pass breakups, 7 forced fumbles. He is just a really, really underrated linebacker. I'm going to be very interested to see how well he does test at the Combine. But I think for a team in Philadelphia that definitely needs to add a couple names here at linebacker, Terrill Hanks in the 5th is really, really good value with a lot of upside, and he's a modern-day cover linebacker. Alternative options, anywhere between the 2nd and 4th round, you got Joe Giles Harris from Duke or Voshawn Joseph from Florida, or a little bit later, I like TJ Edwards from Wisconsin. Going to the 6th round, pick 197, I was selecting Shareef Miller, defensive end from Penn State, 6'5", 260 pounds. I think he would come on and be defensive end 5 on our roster. In his career, he's 100 tackles, 31.5 TFLs, and 14.5 sacks. He's just a high ceiling prospect, a guy that is not a complete defensive end, maybe a little bit more of a project player, but when he flashes, it looks really, really damn good. And I think that his style, and a lot of scouts agree, is built for a wide 9, which is what Philadelphia runs from an edge rush standpoint, just defensive line standpoint in general. So because of that, he's a scheme fit with high upside in the 6th round all day long. Finishing up the 6th round at pick 208, I'm selecting Ricky Walker, defensive tackle from Virginia Tech, 6'2", 305 pounds. I think he can challenge for that defensive tackle 4 spot. I think Trayvon Hester has really emerged as our D-tackle 2. I really do think Timmy Jernigan's got to get re-signed on a lower cap number, because you just really see when Jernigan and Cox are on the field, it is really, really productive. It's like night and day. So we need that D-tackle 4. And a guy like Ricky Walker, 127 career tackles, 30.5 TFLs, 8 sacks. He's a balanced defensive tackle. He's good against the run. He's good against the pass. And I think he will benefit because he's a little bit undersized as a member of the Philadelphia Eagles defensive line rotation. But obviously, alternative options at defensive line, they could very well use a high pick on, say, Christian Wilkins in the 1st round, Jeffrey Simmons because of the off the field and the ACL injury. He could be in there in the 2nd. Jerry Tillery in the 2nd. I like Kalen Saunders out of Western Illinois in the mid rounds, 4 to 5. So yeah, there's plenty of D tackles that Philly could look at getting. So then finishing up here, I got 6 undrafted free agents, so they should look at 3 on offense, 3 on defense. Starting on offense at running back, I got Bruce Anderson from North Dakota State. At tight end, Andrew Beck from Texas. Still need that third tight end that ideally is a blocker first. And then at wide receiver, I like Olamide Zacchaeus, speedster from Virginia. Wide receiver, built like a running back. On the defensive side, I got Jamel Garcia-Williams, defensive end from UAB, 6'7", 250-pound raw machine. Yes, sir. At linebacker, Dante Booker from Ohio State. And at corner, give me any 3 of my draft favorites. Jimmy Moreland from James Madison, Clifton Duck from App State, or Brian Peavy from Iowa State. And there I did it. This literally was my 9th time re-recording this because I wanted to keep it under 20 minutes. We got it at 15, so that is a very consumable mock draft here for you guys. And I hope you guys did enjoy. But I always like looking for feedback as I continue, especially for Eagle fans, because I like to hear what you guys think. So let me know what you think about this mock draft in the comment section below. If you're not a fan of the Eagles, don't worry. It's Combine week. So after the Combine, that is when I'm going to be starting my 32-team mock draft. So they will be coming soon. But if you like the mock draft content, if you're an Eagle fan, or you're just excited about what is going to happen over the coming months, make sure you hit that subscribe button and you stick around. Smash the like button if you enjoyed and you like the Eagles mock. And until next time, guys, it's C4 saying peace out.